Actually, this is another. As long as you're talking about fraud, have you guys been following this story about the the New York Republican who just got elected in the midterms, whose entire life story is just an open fraud, like every single thing on his resume that he ran for Congress and got elected on was this guy is like a fugitive in Brazil where he's from, and I gotta say, I'm with you, Felix. This is an American success story. I love this guy. I love that nobody in the New York media thought to fucking investigate any of this shit, and then when called on it, our boy from so long ago, Mikey Barbaro said, it was like in part of this Twitter thread, he was like, "It's shocking how entitled to scoops people feel today." I don't think Mikey Barb said that, but he was basically saying, like, if you wanted to find out about Santos's many crimes and frauds, you should have investigated it yourself rather than haranguing journalists for not doing it.
Dude, I love Mikey, but it's like, I'm glad to see success hasn't changed him. Mikey Barbs, in the years since we met him, has become a superstar podcaster. I mean,
oh my
superstar.
God.
He's
the biggest name. And yeah.
Mark
The Daily
Maron,
is like the fucking biggest podcast there is, or one of them.
Dude, if you did a daily live show, it would have to be in an arena. My man is huge. But
it would be like the crowds in Buenos Aires for the fucking World Cup players coming home.
Yeah, he would do an Altamont with like women's marchers beating up the crowd. He's awesome. But success hasn't changed him. He's still the same old Mikey.
Well, I mean, it has changed him. Apparently, he's not gay anymore. He got married a woman.
That is crazy. I mean, like, God bless the man. I just want to know how that went down. But
that's a rare lateral move in mid life.
Yeah, god damn. Sign of the times.
There are plenty of guys who have been married for like decades who are just like, I'm gay now.
I wonder do you think he was just like? Do you think he was like? I don't know.
He went to church with Ross Douthat, his buddy.
Yeah, Ross Douthat was his best man.
So Ross Douthat did the first ever successful conversion therapy. That's incredible.
It's impressive. Hats off to him.
No, but yeah, he success has not changed him. But this guy George Santos is like, he's like Barry Lyndon. He's like, you know what I mean? Like he's like there aren't criminals like this anymore. Like he's a scofflaw. It's not just that he's like a thief and a liar. It's that he's like had to flee multiple countries and principalities due to his lies. Like his types of crimes are like promising an elephant for the viceroy and accepting the deposit and not delivering. If they ever persecute this guy, he's not going to be like arrested by the NYPD. He's going to be like, it'll be letters of marque. Like a privateer. A privateer will have to apprehend him. He's a real old timey figure, but he's
going to get attained by the crown.
Yeah, he's going to be impressed into service. He's going to have to work for the Prussian military. What a guy.
Yeah, exactly. He's impressed into service in the Prussian military. And then Congressman George Santos killed in a duel by his stepson over the properties. He fleeced out of his widowed mother. How I acquired the style and title of Long Island Republican congressman. Says George Santos, whose election to Congress on Long Island last month helped Republicans clinch a narrow majority in the House of Representatives, built his candidacy on the notion that he was the full embodiment of the American dream and was running to safeguard it further. That is not cap at all.
That is not a lie. That's the truest thing anyone has ever said.
His campaign biography amplified his storybook journey. He is the son of Brazilian immigrants and the first openly gay Republican to win a House seat as a non-incumbent. By his account, he catapulted himself from a New York City public college to become a seasoned Wall Street financier and investor with a family-owned real estate portfolio of 13 properties and an animal rescue charity that saved more than 2,500 dogs and cats. But a New York Times review of public documents and court filings in the United States and Brazil, as well as various attempts to verify claims that Mr. Santos, 34, made on the campaign trail, calls into question key parts of his resume that he sold to voters. Citigroup and Goldman Sachs, the marquee Wall Street firms on Mr. Santos's campaign biography, told the Times they had no record of him ever working there. That is so crazy.
Disagree.
You can put Goldman Sachs on like your political campaign resume, and then nobody ever just, hey, did this guy ever work for you?
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? What have we always told listeners though? I feel like we have told listeners this so much on job applications. Just lie.
Make it up.
Haven't we said that? They're not going to check.
They will not check. This is Exhibit A here. Just fucking say whatever you need.
And it's like, I would have not previously have assumed this about running for office, but apparently no one will check that either.
No one's going to check that shit. Go for it. You want to be in Congress?
Crazy.
Believe in yourself.
It's like, also, they're not getting this guy out of here.
Oh, no.
Once you're in, you're in,
It says here, at the same time, new revelations uncovered by the Times, including the omission of key information on Mr. Santos's personal financial disclosures and criminal charges for check fraud in Brazil, have the potential to create ethical and possibly legal challenges once he takes office. Mr. Santos did not respond to repeated requests from the Times that he furnish either documents or a resume with dates that would help substantiate the claims he made on the campaign trail. He also declined to be interviewed, and neither his lawyer nor Big Dog Strategies, a Republican-oriented political consulting group that handles crisis management, responded to a detailed list of questions. Big Dog Strategies.
Come on, Big Dog.
Big Sean Strategies. Should I hire him?
It's the big dogs from the shirt. They retired from show business and got into their true passion. I mean, okay, so legal challenges, I don't really agree with. We're not extraditing this guy to Brazil.
No.
That's not happening. No. Ethical challenges, I mean, okay, come on. Like, think of all the stuff that we've seen the Republican caucus let slide. And this is the guy that they're going to be like, we're better than this.
Yeah.
The guy who lied about every detail and is like, well, he's not hurting anyone,
Yeah.
Or I mean,
except all the investors he rooked out of money, but
who cares? Who cares?
I don't give a shit. Well, I mean, listen to this. One of the crooked ventures he was involved in was something called Harbor City. Regional, he took on a new role of Harbor City Capital, a Florida-based investment company. So, like, any company that is described as a Florida-based and investment, is crime. That's just fraud. That's crime. There is no legitimate business that is like headquartered in like if your LLC files in the state of Florida, it's a criminal enterprise.
Yeah.
But listen to this. Sorry, real quick. It says here. This is why I don't feel bad for anyone he stole money from. Is because it says Harbor City, which attracted investors with YouTube videos and guarantees of double-digit returns. So I mean, this is just pest control here. If you're
okay, first of all, guaranteeing double-digit returns, no one except scams do that. Even the best-run hedge funds in the world are like, hey, this is risky. Second of all, okay, if you put your money into something called Harbor City, what the fuck? That is like the literal translation of a place in China. What Harbor City is just not. It's not a phrase that works. I mean, I am not putting my money anywhere that isn't two Jewish guys' last names. I'm sorry.
Harbor City, I guarantee you, was probably like a Ponzi scheme to recruit people to invest or like buy properties that are currently owned by manatees in Florida. It's just like some sort of like Everglades wildlife preserve.
We just got to evict the manatees. It's easy.
Yeah, Harbor City is where Harbor City is where Jack Lemmon worked in before getting buried.
I'm telling you now, these new lots at Harbor City, you got to get in there.
These manatees, they're selling at any price, cash.
Manatees, they're just lonely. They just want to talk to people.
Yeah, I mean, I've yet to see anything really that bad this guy has done, but did he do something truly terrible?
No, I mean, it's not like you said, like he's like Barry Lyndon. He's swag as fuck. He's cool as hell.
Yeah. Do you think he's like even gay?
Oh man, that'd be so funny.
You think he's sort of a Pete Buttigieg situation going on here?
That would be hilarious.
If Republicans are now getting in on this, getting on the action, there's some cachet in being, I'm the gay Republican.
Well, it's just like, I mean, it really gets lost now because of like, the disgusting groomer thing. But in 2016, and even like into some of the Trump years, a big thing was to have sort of like a younger, sort of telegenic, cool gay Republican. Yeah. And the infamous photo of Trump holding the pride flag, because the rationale was like, A, hey, we're not your dad's Republican Party, and B, well, I'm gay, but I'm a Republican because Democrats want to, let ISIS members emigrate and kill all the gay people.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh Hallway missed that fucking lane when he got married. In this case, the one thing I really appreciated is really taking in for the first time George Santos as he just sort of like appears in the background of every frame on C-SPAN. I see his just like, dude, my man has like the glossiest lips I've ever seen.
Very shiny.
His lips are so shiny, and he's got these weird glasses on and like an ill-fitting tie, and he's just sort of like haunting the fucking background of like every one of these shots of like the negotiations going on, not negotiating with anyone. And in fact, he has missed now 2 roll calls to vote on this. They've called his name twice, and he just hasn't shown, which makes me think that George Santos is not his real name.
Yeah.
No,
I think that's the case.
Yeah. He is stumbling around. He's dressed like a teddy bear. He always looks like he just got done sucking on a ring pop. And he's probably like in the process of doing the Brazilian equivalent of like a sovereign citizen defense to prevent being extradited by the federales. Or the federalinos, or whatever they call them over there. Who knows what's going on with him? It is very sad to see how lonely he is in the house, because like the house is like America's playpen for people who cannot have a job anywhere else in the world. And for George to be an outcast there, well, God, I won't say he stepped in it. He's just, I mean, probably the weirdest liar in the world, right? He told one of our first Twitch mods 3 years ago that his mom died in 9/11, unbidden, out of nowhere.
And like,
our friend Pedro.
That's a pretty easy thing to fact check. Who died on 9/11?
Yeah. A lot of ambiguity there.
It's like the starting lineup of the 1934 Yankees or something. These are names that people can like find pretty easily. We've actually compiled, thanks to our research assistant Justin, compiled a list of the known lies that George Santos has been caught out in. So I'm just going to run down briefly. He lied about attending the Horace Mann School in New York City. He lied about attending NYU and Baruch College. He lied that he worked for Citigroup and Goldman Sachs. Lied that he owned 13 rental properties. He lied about his role in the DeVolder organization, allegedly the name of his family's firm. He lied that he is a Jew whose grandparents escaped the Holocaust. That his mother was a financial executive who died on 9/11. That he employed 4 Pulse nightclub shooting victims, which is... Again, like just every atrocity of the last 20 years, this guy is like a Zelig figure for.
He is, he's Forrest Gump. What hasn't he been involved with? He's like, I sold the balloon to Balloon Boy.
He is Forrest Gump because he's lying about all of this, just like Forrest Gump was. By the way, if you actually believe that bullshit he was spitting on the fucking bus bench, I got a bridge to sell you. He's a full scammer. So is George Santos.
He also lied that he founded a charity. He lied about being gay, being married. But however, I got to say, after seeing him walk around the floor of the house, I don't think he's lying about being gay. I can say that pretty safely. Going on, it says that he is not a criminal. He committed check fraud in Brazil. He lied about getting mugged in 2016, and he also lied about buying tickets for a Hawaiian vacation for an ex-boyfriend. But now just for that, no one wants to talk to him or be friends with him in Congress. I think that's quite shabby.
I don't know. First of all, doesn't every Brazilian just kind of commit check fraud?
Yeah,
as like a rite of passage.
Well,
I mean, if we're gonna start going after Brazilians for check fraud, are we gonna go after Germans for drinking? I don't agree with that. Okay. Is there precedent in the House rules? I think some parliamentarian geeks may know this. If you have to take a gay or straight test, if they put a man or a woman in front of you, and you have to pick, sort of like the infamous conjugal scene from Sons of Anarchy. I don't know.
Put like I don't know, sensors on your genitals and then show you gay and pornography of the gay and straight varieties, and measure the blood flow to your nether regions.
Yeah. Why doesn't he just make it so his thing is lying? Like in the way that like Lauren Boebert, she made her thing guns, and Marjorie Taylor Greene made her thing being like everyone who's ever been, banned from a Best Buy. Like just, a lot of people in America are just inveterate liars, and he's one.
I know, and yeah, no, he's like as I said before, he is the perfect congressman, and I hope he stays in office. I really do, because he represents America in a way that most people in the House of Representatives can't even dream of. There's a lot. I mean, God, the George Santos story just continues to get better and better because it led to this headline: George Santos. I am not a drag queen and didn't let a dog die.
Okay, can we?
Let's take those one at a time.
Right. I don't like drag queen thing. I don't really give a shit about. Like the drag queens were just like a normal like epic thing until like a year and a half ago. Like there were pictures of like Carrie Lake at drag queen things during her pre-anti-woke period. Like there was a semi-famous 2016 Trump figure called Lady MAGA, who is a drag queen. Like, that's neither here nor there. The dog killing story, now this is one that I am personally invested in, and I'd like to get into that one first.
Well, I got to go with Anthony DeVolder, George Santos's comments on, this is his tweet about the dog allegations. He tweeted yesterday, "The reports that I would let a dog die is shocking and insane. My work in animal advocacy was the labor of love and hard work. Over the past 24 hours, I have received pictures of dogs I helped reduce throughout the years, along with supportive messages. These distractions won't stop me." That's I know he
did. He say
rescue,
dog?
But,
did he say reduce?
Yeah, he wrote reduce. I think it was probably autocorrect from rescue, but that's a little bit of a algorithmic Freudian slip. I've reduced plenty of dogs to ashes.
Yeah.
Over the
So like this story, I think it's like one of the more defensible things he's ever done, because like
ripping off
it's
veterans.
not like, okay, first of all, he didn't really campaign on I will never let a dog die. Like if I'm in a situation where I can help get a dog's tumor removed, I will not stand in the way of that. That was never something he claimed. He's not going against his word there. Second of all, no one has abused the service dog program quite like veterans. Many listeners have known one of the worst things that has happened to me in my life was when I belonged to a gym in Brooklyn, where this guy who was either a veteran or liked to look like one brought his shitty little service dog into the gym and played fetch with it while people were doing Olympic lifts, presumably trying to get it crushed to death so he could, like, I don't know, get the DOD to recompensate him for a more expensive type of dog. I don't know what. Maybe he wanted the
a
dog
Boston
to also,
Dynamics dog.
Yeah, he wanted a Boston Dynamics dog, or he wanted the dog to be injured in combat as he was, so the dog could scare his dog wife as he scares his wife. The original reason that he needs the dog. Veterans have terrorized public spaces all over this country with their service mutts that are hardly trained, could not do the job of like a basic terrier or a more advanced dog like a Portuguese water dog. And Anthony DeVolder, Santos, Supermanino, shirts, Bloomingdale's, Macy's, Lord and Taylor, Hemingway, Santos Jr., Senior, the third. He rid the world of at least one. I'm not saying this dog deserved to die, but I think restaurant patrons and gym goers in the New York area felt a little bit of peace for just one moment. Thanks to
he's already delivering for New York State.
Yeah, thanks to this dog's tumor that preserved the safety of Olympic platforms all over Brooklyn and Queens.
I mean, I guess the allegation was that he started a GoFundMe for a vet whose dog needed to have a tumor removed. and then he just disappeared with the GoFundMe funds, and the dog died.
Yeah, and if you look, so if you look at the texts between him and the guy, he's like basically implying that he ran this fundraiser with 100% overhead. Like transportation, meals, and entertainment and promotion to get the $3,000 cost him $3,000. I mean, like all crimes are determined by scale, and he was just like doing Susan G. Komen on a personal scale, which is what makes it a crime, you know?
Yeah, he's just getting his beef wet. Let the man cook. That's what I have to say. That should be his re-election campaign in 2 years when he has to run again after all this stuff's out. Let me cook.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want him in Congress, though?
I know.
Like I said,
ridiculous.
He's already delivering for the people on Long Island. I mean, like, they don't seem to care that he's like not a real person, and basically everything in his life is a fraud. I mean, come on, it's Long Island. Who gives a shit? But yeah,
he could be like the only actual sovereign citizen in the world.
He's certainly sovereign from like the laws of Brazil and America. That's for sure.
Yeah. We should protect him from Lula's Gestapo trying to extradite him for giving out bad checks for calf implants and braces. The number one crime in Brazil.
There's just a number of like really amazing George Santos, Anthony DeVolder, Shapiro Jr. Things that have just come out a couple days, and I'm wondering if you guys saw the video that someone found, and I think this is from a debate that was hosted on TV. It was either the first time he ran or this most recent election that he won. But it's like him and the presumably his Democratic opponent, or maybe this is a Republican primary. It's two candidates, and they're like being interviewed by like a TV news person, and like in all these debates, they close out with like one of these absolute softball like getting to know you questions, like I think the question was like, what's it like a Christmas or like New Year's tradition that your family has, and they kick it to his opponent first, and he goes, oh man, it doesn't really matter what, but like it just being around family, Christmas, we all gather around the TV, watch some big, dumb, stupid Christmas movie, and we eat Haagen-Dazs ice cream. We eat all the foods that you shouldn't have during the year, but we just have a big family movie time and eating Haagen-Dazs ice cream. And they're like, oh, that's so sweet. George Anthony DeVolder, could you tell us a childhood or like a family tradition that you'd like to share? And he goes, yeah, it's just all about, spending time with family, watching movies.
My nephews and I, and my brother and sister-in-law, and I get together in our sweats, watch a stupid holiday movie, some sort of stupid comical holiday movie, and eat the food that we shouldn't eat all year round. So that's the great thing. It begins with delicatessen. It goes into Haagen-Dazs is always a staple, usually popcorn as well.
Mr. Santos, your favorite family tradition?
Every moment we can get together, that's kind of a downtime. It's sweatpants, pints of Haagen-Dazs all over the place.
Eating Haagen-Dazs ice cream. he just takes this guy's story and like he just copies this dude's family tradition, and he's just like, without missing a blink, without a single bead of sweat trickling down his face-tuned ass face, without his lips still looking just glossed up, and he just right directly after this guy, he just repeats this guy's personal family story back to him and to the debate audience.
They've elected a fucking AI chatbot to the House of Representatives.
I really don't like the way that he's been treated in the House. Like you guys saw that really sad picture of him just like sitting alone in his little Paddington Bear outfit near the Republican caucus. And it's like, I do like, okay, I will say, yes, George Santos is more fucked up than your average congressman, but by like 7%.
Yeah,
dude, Jim Jordan's lying about kids getting molested on his wrestling team.
Yeah,
like, no one he's a number one jock. Everyone wants to be friends with him.
Yeah, George Santos, like, there's no molestation in his laundry list of crimes. Like, he's just no women or children. That is something that I like about him. And he's a fuck up. He's a liar. He lies about things that don't even offer him an advantage, presumably just lying for the sake of the activity. But that's most people in the House. People in the House represent Americans who could literally not get a job anywhere else in the world. And he's only a little weirder than them. But they don't like him because he reminds them of this fact. He reminds them of the fact that they are not senators, that they're not true lizard people. They're more like, I don't know, a dumber mustelid.
One of the guys who kept voting against Kevin McCarthy and extended the speaker vote for weeks was a freshman who beat an incumbent in Texas named Eli Crane, who had been on Shark Tank selling a bottle opener made out of 50 caliber rifle cartridges called the Bottle Breacher.
Wait, did he get a deal?
I believe he got a deal. Yes.
Okay.
Who with who?
I think it was Mark and Mr. Wonderful.
Oh,
Mr. Yeah.
This
Mr. Wonderful.
Was too good.
Yeah.
Like those are the people in the house.
Bottle opener made out of spent 50 cal shell casings.
Yep. The Bottle Breacher. You're doing a tactical breaching of your bottle. You're not just opening it like a gay or a chick or something.
Yeah.
It's tactical. You're having a tactical engagement with your beverage.
I mean, if the bottle opener could produce a flashbang style attack that could kill my dog while I do it, so I could get the true SWAT experience, I might pick one up.
Just one more George Anthony DeVolder take. I think we have audio of this, but it's like he's going on some podcast and he's talking about how he used to love. I know you said no women and children, Felix, so nothing untoward is alleged here. But he said he used to mentor kids a lot, like in high school, and he liked mentoring kids. But he said kids nowadays he doesn't mentor anymore because all the kids he mentors stab him in the back. He literally said he's betrayed by first of all, I don't think he's mentoring anyone. Like he's making all of this up. But he was like, I go to the high schools now.
But you know what? Recently, I've gotten so much pie in my face with doing that because these kids come in, they think they know it all. They think they're better. You teach them a little bit. You invest this much time and a whole lot of money taking them to events and teaching them stuff. And then they turn around and start backstabbing you because now they're important. So you know what? I quit.
Oh, I know. It's like when he brought under his wing that wayward orphan, Oliver Twist, and taught him how to do pickpocketing. And then he just fucking turns on him. It's bullshit.
Yeah, I mean...
George Anthony DeVolder, Fagin, the Jew.
Well, yeah. That is, again, that's the thing I like about his lies. Like, what political valiance does that have?
I mean, it's sort of like a kids today, kind of they're too woke or I don't know, they're selfish and entitled. That's sort of like generally is
just like the ambient grievance against the young.
Yeah, well, okay, it's one thing to like talk about how kids are woke or like lazy or entitled, but like to make it that you personally are constantly bamboozled and outwitted by children is sort of like, I don't know. That has very little to do with Brandon. I don't think that's a Brandon policy, unfortunately. But yeah, that's what makes him special. I would like to know the backstory for that one because I'm sure he employed a child in like some idiotic slip and fall scheme. Like he probably had some like 20-step plan to like sue the company that makes Laffy Taffy, where a kid was going to pretend to choke to death on Laffy Taffy, and George Santos would like do a Jewish incantation at his funeral, and the kid like I don't know absconded with the funeral money or something. But there was assuredly a story behind it, and I would like to know it.
Yeah, there was the time that he and his brother Sam Rockwell were pulling a grift, and one of these kids came up and claimed to be his biological daughter and took her under the wing, and then boom, betrayal.
I guess like the thing with him, one of the many things, is that it's like he's not even like a modern con man. We alluded to this
Paper
the first time
Moon.
it came up.
Yeah.
He's taking his daughter Tatum O'Neal around the South of depression.
He's like, he's less like, like a regular MLM con man of the modern era and more like...
Although he certainly is that as well.
He is also that, but like
in a Ponzi scheme.
His, like, the breadth and the variety of scams and the types of scams he does, he's more like the guy who pretended to be Daniel Plainview's brother. One
more amazing George Santos lie. I know I talked about this before, but his original claim that his mom was in the South Tower and died in 9/11 was
That's awesome.
Incredible, because like that's it's I wouldn't say a short list of people, but it's checkable. Okay, so like people looked into that. His mom definitely wasn't in the towers when they collapsed. And then he said, well, his mom was in Lower Manhattan and she died 15 years later of like the inhalation of like cancer causing dust and asbestos and whatever the shit was in the building. People looked into that and found out that she wasn't even in the country when 9/11 happened.
Well, I don't know. Have you ever heard of trade winds?
I mean, I'm just saying. I mean, his mom is dead, though.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, like to be determined. I mean, we'll check in on that later.
Yeah, we need citations on all this stuff.
Well, yeah. I mean, maybe he doesn't even have a mom. Maybe he was hatched from an egg. We don't know.
I mean, I'd buy it.
Yeah, but like, I don't know. Maybe his mom's death in some way can be attributable to 9/11. I don't know. Maybe she started stress eating after that day and she got diabetes. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe she went to one of the many candlelight vigils and inhaled a toxic, unregulated Brazilian candle fume that gave her something similar to Ground Zero syndrome.
So there you go. I mean, I want to give him every benefit of the doubt. Just one more thing. Look, I don't want to belabor the drag queen thing too much because, like, I don't want to make it seem like there's anything wrong with performing in drag, and But the thing is, it is amusing to me that like one of his biggest shepherds or like promoters of the New York political scene is a Queens politician who's been like well out in front of this like drag queen story hour panic bullshit. But also it's just very funny, as we've talked about multiple times on this show, that like the libs of TikTok midterm election strategy like not panning out for the Republicans. Well, I mean, it worked in so much as that they elected a guy who performs in drag, who like does drag queen story hour stuff. Or maybe not story hour, but like he's a drag performer. Like he's a gay man who performs in drag. Like, and that's would normally be like a perfectly wholesome hobby or interest to pursue, but not when you're an elected member of the Republican Party. He also started a sort of like gays going their own way group called United for Trump.
Oh man, they used to love that shit. They loved doing that shit where it was like, it's the walk away movement.
Yeah,
yeah. I'm mixed race, but I'm leaving the Democratic plantation. That's right. I'm German and like German Puerto Rican, but I'm leaving the POC plantation of the Democratic Party.
Well, I gotta say, it's such a rich tapestry for George Anthony DeVolter, Santos, Fagan. Fagan Jr. Donald. Well, Diane back. George Santos soon to be out. Guys, can you believe he's just been indicted for conspiracy to commit fraud by the feds? I mean, like, the level of persecution that goes on against brave heterodox thinkers is unbearable to me.
Is this over the dog thing, or is it like just campaign?
I think it's literally everything. I think it's like 13 different counts. They got him on all the shit that people brought up, and now they're like, oh yeah, it turns out all that is illegal. You can't do any of that.
He surrendered.
I feel like it's probably like a lot of that is probably like the equivalent to a PED test in sports, where it's not actually a drug test, it's an IQ test. It's did you directly spend campaign dollars, which is the biggest IQ test in all American politics. If you directly spend campaign dollars, you're too stupid to do this. If you go legal defense fund or victory fund and then use it to pay for your maid, then you're fine.
He should get in front of the court and he should go, Your Honor, in my defense, I did not think I was going to win. This was just another way to get some money illegally, and I was just gonna chill. And then these idiots voted for me, and now you all know who I am, and this is not fair, because my only real crime was getting elected to Congress, because clearly nobody cared about all the other crimes he was doing.
It's 13 counts of wire fraud, money laundering, theft of public funds, and two counts of making materially false statements to the House of Representatives. And if you read the accounts of these indictments, it's basically, Matt, like you're exactly right. It basically seems like him running for Congress was just a get rich quick scheme. Like that's all it was, and it worked in so much as he got all the money he was after, but it was a huge failure because he actually won.
Yeah, that was not in the plan.
It says here, in the first alleged scheme, prosecutors said he defrauded prospective political supporters in December by enlisting a Queens-based political consultant, described in the court documents as Person 1, to communicate with possible donors on Santos's behalf. Santos allegedly directed Person 1 to falsely tell donors that, among other things, their money would be used to help elect Santos to the House, including by purchasing television advertisements. 2 unnamed contributors then each transferred $25,000 to a bank account Santos controlled, prosecutor said. Santos allegedly used much of the money for personal expenses, including buying designer clothing, paying down debt, and making a car payment. So he was just like living month to month, check to check off campaign donations that are
I hate to see him go down this way. I really hate this. If he had just said legal defense fund or something, he would have been fine. I am curious. Does any of the indictment get to how, like, 1 year he was making, like, $3,000 per year, and the next year he had like $7 million?
Let me look at says here, in the third alleged scheme, Santos misled the House and public about his financial situation during his 2 congressional campaigns, the Justice Department said. During his first campaign in May 2020, Santos allegedly overstated his income and failed to disclose the salary he received from the investment firm, according to the indictment. For his campaign last year, Santos also allegedly overstated his income and assets in financial disclosure documents, including claiming he received $750,000 salary from his Florida-based company, the DeVolder Organization, LLC, as well as dividends. If he is convicted, Santos could face up to 20 years in prison for the top
That's
counts.
too much. That's way too much.
Look, do you want, we started out the show having some fun at the expense of the crypt keepers in charge of our democracy. But do you want young people running for office and getting involved in politics or not? Because it seems to me that...
Do you want people with grind set is the real question.
Yeah.
I think it'd be funny if he is removed from office now because of this, and then they have another election, and the Democrats are like, all right, we lost it. We weren't looking last time. We're going to do it. And then they lose to Bagel Boss. Remember him?
Shut your mouth. You're not God or my father or my boss.
If only, and then he wins, and then the day after the election, and he's won the election, all the Democratic media and staffers are just like, if only there was video of this guy out there. If only we had some Oppo research on this guy, we could have won a winnable seat.
Bagel Boss is probably he's probably doing necromancy now, going by the usual right wing ideology pipeline. He's in Varg's party as a necromancer.